Are we live? I guess let me see if I can get this little. I always got to plug the sponsors here. Cirxon Cleveland Golf, supporting me since 2001. I was gonna do this at the golf course today, but I kind of got called off for. Let me just make sure this is working. Yeah, I think it's working. Yeah, we're closed, and I'm working maintenance out there here on Salt Spring Island. But anyway, maybe next time. So the setup that I've got, which is probably more similar to what you guys have, is I've got 3 golf balls, a yoga mat, which is stimping at about 14, pretty quick, my putter, and then I just got like a water bottle that I'm going to putt at. And it's really, really simple. This is just a dive into the art of noticing. And, you know, just while everybody starts trickling in here, because I know there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, you know, I think now, based on everything that's going on in the world, I think it's a great time to just start noticing. Just noticing things about yourself, noticing things about other people, noticing things that bring you small amounts of happiness, and also, you know, noticing things that make a difference for you. And I was on the putting green yesterday working on. I got in like 10 minutes. And was just noticing something about my stroke that I kind of knew before, and hadn't really been able to pinpoint it. And so kind of my tendency in my putting stroke is to set up with my shoulders a little open, and then my putting stroke tends to come back, and then I kind of wipe across it, so it exits, instead of having it go just straight back, straight through, it exits really far to the right. And sometimes I can't really tell exactly why that's happening, and so I came up with this idea yesterday that what I would do was just to try to dive into my body and just sort of understand, see if I could feel actually the moment when something was changing. I think if you guys have your setup, you know, you can do this with me, otherwise maybe you can watch it later, but if I get into a really balanced position where I feel like my weight's equal forward and back, I like to have the weight sort of right in front of the arches of my feet, just like as if I was getting ready to jump, you know, so I feel a little bit of pressure here in my knees, and a little bit, my weight feels center, but maybe even a little bit forward of center. I think if I get too far onto my heels, my stroke tends to really round off. So if I just do this, even if I set my putter on my leg, and I just do this and rock my shoulders back and forth with my hands together, I notice that my shoulders have a real equal way of rocking. Like they rock to the left and rock to the right, fairly similar. As I rock this way, I can tell that this shoulder opens up a little bit, and then same thing on the follow through. And knowing my stroke, and if you guys know your strokes, there's probably a tendency for one to be different. For me, I think I take the club back here, and then I really open up and sometimes come across it, and I think that can lead to both pushes and pulls. I mean, it just leads to having trouble starting the ball online, and I think one of the most important things for being a great putter is consistently starting the ball on the line that you intend. You know, being able to read greens is great. We could talk about that at some point. This is probably going to be a 20-25 minute video. We'll see. It might be shorter, it might be longer. But speed control is really important, connecting with the target. But starting the ball online is something that I think that we can all do right now in our living room. And so I've got 2 sticks. I've just got these alignment sticks. You can use 2 clubs. Totally would work. And I've got them just a little bit wider than my putter. And so this is really, really simple. Some of you out there that are looking to improve your putting might want it to be more complicated. I know some of you that I've worked with on your putting, this is going to be a bit of a review, but it's always nice to just come back to what's actually happening instead of what's wrong with my stroke and how can I fix it. Just noticing the moment where it changes from this, and then if I pick up a putter, this feels very similar. Now if I set a ball down, I'm about 3 feet away from this target. I'm going to do this again because I want it to be back to back to back. I don't want to have this go into words. I'm going to try to put it into words at the end of these 3 different motions. But what I want is I want to go dive into my body, and I want to feel the moment when my body changes between these 3 motions. So I'm just going to dive into my body right now, and I'm going to feel, what does this feel like? Mainly I'm feeling movement in my shoulders, and I'm also feeling movement sort of in my, like, the obliques. So I'm here, just feeling that. Now if I pick up the putter, I'm going to do this high above the ball. I've noticed that something's starting to change. So I think it feels really similar on the way back. I feel about as much tension here on the way back, and then on the way through, the tension that I feel in this side of my body when I get a putter in my hand, it actually becomes less. So instead of trying to fix it, I'm just going to keep noticing, just the art of noticing without trying to fix. I don't know if you guys can see, but there'll probably be like a rainbow in between the camera because it's raining right now and the sun's out, which is pretty great. At some point, I'm going to give you a preview of what I'm looking at, or a view of it. Got a nice little pond here. I'm calling it Ike's Pond, not to be confused with Ike's Pond at Augusta National, but I think this is actually the original Ike's Pond. See here's watching. Oh great, we got a lot of T-Mac, Jeff Lai. Obliques engaged. Thanks, Brett. Brett's one of my best students here. Oh, I got the putting doctor watching. This is great. God, probably a lot of this stuff comes from Craig Farnsworth down in Palm Springs. Such a great coach. Works with so many great players, and I've definitely gleaned a lot of information off of him. But today we're just going to, instead of trying to fix, we're just going to notice. And so I'm going between these 3 motions. I'm going, just feeling how my obliques are feeling right now. I'm feeling a little bit of movement in my shoulders. And then putter starts to change. I'm feeling it right here in my right side of my obliques. And then when I make a stroke, something felt different. Something definitely felt different, and I'm just going to give myself the space to just keep doing it because I don't know exactly what it was, but it's somewhere in here, and I think it's both backstroke and follow-through, but I feel more of a difference on the follow-through. I think a lot of people, when they're getting a golf lesson at this moment where they know that they're, you can see if you stroke the putter, you can see that your putter's not staying between the lines of the 2 sticks or 2 clubs, so you know something's wrong. But I think it'll be the tendency for people to just immediately want to fix it, but if you can just dive into your body for a minute and just feel what the difference is. So I'm going to do that again. I feel like an equal amount of engagement here on my backstroke as I do here on my follow-through, which is really interesting because I'm guessing and I'm going back. Now I don't feel that in my putting stroke. So now I'm going to go here. Starting to feel the same. See how after I'm hitting the putt, there's not a judgment about, oh, I've hit my target, oh, that was a good putt, that was a bad putt. I'm just trying to feel it, and the first moment, this one, and then this, they felt exactly the same, and then something changed. It was a follow-through. I felt less engagement in the right side of my core on my follow-through. And so, you know, physics just states that anytime you pay attention to something, it changes. I'd be willing to bet that if we did this for 5 more minutes, I bet you that by the end of it, all 3 of them will feel the same, or at least we'll have a better awareness of what's happening. So again, just to talk a little bit about setup, I want to have the weight in the balls of my feet. I want to have my knees over the balls of my feet, and I want to just feel like I'm in as an athletic position as I can. And now I'm going to rock my shoulders. Everything feels the same left and right. It doesn't feel like I'm a left-handed putter here. It feels like I could go either way. Now when I get the putter in my hand, now I happen to be noticing that my stroke in between these 2 lines is no longer coming inside of the sticks. Now it's going straight towards my target, and my body feels the same. And now I'm going to see if it feels the same during my stroke. I love this. This is great. I don't know if you guys are having as much fun as I'm having, but see, even this is why I'm asking you to really get in the habit of noticing, because even, you know, 3 or 4 of these repetitions later, and I'm still feeling like something when the ball is there is different, and it's definitely in the right side of my body, and I don't exactly know when it occurs, so I'm just going to go into that. Now, if I focus all of my attention during the stroke on the right side of my body, I think that the camera is probably flipped. I haven't quite figured out how to make it not a mirror image. Maybe I'd have to turn my iPad around. So now I'm just going to pay attention to the right side of my body, because I've identified that as an area that changes from my practice strokes to my actual stroke when the ball's there. That one felt probably the most similar out of all of them. So do you see how this is, I'm sure this could get very repetitive, but do you see how there's no fixing here? There's no, I've got to change it. I immediately want somebody to show me what I'm doing wrong and how to fix it. It's just being in the habit of noticing what's actually happening. I found that that's the best way for me to get better. You know, I've taken so many lessons from so many great golf coaches, and I've gotten so much from them, but really the places where I make the most gains is I get the lesson, I listen to what the coach is telling me to do, and then I spend time just noticing that part of my body. You know, if I'm having trouble with the length of my stroke, or I'm having trouble with the speed of my stroke, or the path of my stroke, then just doing a drill like this where I'm just noticing when the path goes off, or when it feels like it's speeding up, or when my tempo gets off, and just not trying to fix. I think that's sort of that's my philosophy. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. I just want to see, is there any questions anybody has? I love that people are tuning in. That's nice. So, okay, I'm going to go do, I hope you guys are all 120 of you are doing this with your putter in your living room or somewhere. A yoga mat's really good. This thing's stimping really fast. So I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going here. I want to be balanced. I want to have everything stacked on top of each other. You know, You can see here that I'm not too far bent over. I'm not standing like this. I'm getting everything stacked right on top of each other. Knees, shoulders, balls of the feet. And then I'm just going to feel that again. Maybe do a little bit bigger stroke, see if I can feel it more. It might bounce off my water bottle a little farther. I'm really feeling like in this part of my abs, I really feel that a lot when I do that. Now if I grab my putter, even when I grab my putter, it's less so on this side. Now that feels the same. This kind of goes into this philosophy or this art of noticing, or you can tell, so a lot of you that have had lessons from me, it kind of goes into the thing of when we have a golf lesson and we want a lesson, or we read a magazine, or we get a lesson from a pro, we want the pro to tell us what we're doing wrong so that we can have a swing thought so that we can fix it. And the funny thing is that when we have these swing thoughts, we're just entering into a state of having a small conversation with ourselves during our swing, hoping that it will work out. And I have to give homage to Fred Shoemaker, definitely for this idea. But since I've known Fred for so long, it's definitely become part of who I am and the way that I teach. But isn't that crazy to think about that? If I say the right things to myself during the 2 seconds that it takes to stroke the putter or swing a club, somehow I think it will work out. I mean, it's really madness. And so instead of thinking along the lines of I have to tell myself the right things to make my putting stroke work, like I could say, okay, engage your right side of your abs and really hold it hard. I just find that just becomes another conversation. And I find that most people play their best golf. I definitely play my best golf when I'm not thinking about what to do in here and I'm thinking out there, you know, what do I want, where's the ball going to go, where's the ball going to enter the hole, how's it going to enter the hole, at what angle, at what speed. And so as I do that, now I try to connect out there. So I'm thinking, how do I want this to hit the cup? This one's going to just lightly tap it. I could feel so much engagement in here. That one probably felt the most similar. I don't know how it looked. I could probably rewind this a little bit later or watch it again and just notice if I start to see any differences. Maybe I'll do a couple down the line. That might be cool. But yeah, that's the main thing here is, can you just spend a little bit of time noticing what's actually happening as opposed to trying to fix it. I've been noticing myself through this coronavirus, wanting to fix it, wanting to have more connection, wanting to go out and play golf, wanting to go to yoga, wanting to meet with my friends, and it's not really happening. And it's easy to get frustrated, but it's also interesting to just be like, I wonder why I have those feelings, and where are they coming from, and what are they about? Okay, I'm going to do a couple down the line, see if anybody else has joined in. I see Jane there. Hi, Jane. Although it might be Russell. Now I'm really going into a vulnerable state here because you guys are really going to see my shoulders flare open. But here we go. So feels the same, looks the same. Different. No idea what happened there. Just I know it's different. I think that's I think that's one of the biggest traits that I see from good golfers is they hit a bad golf shot or they make a bad stroke, and they're not always trying to figure out what went wrong. You know, they're not freaking out like off the first tee. Sometimes if I'm not loose, I might hit a big snap hook, and it's like if somebody asks me, "What did you do wrong there?" It's like, I don't know, man. Like I'm just first hole, you know, like that stuff happens. So just do a couple more. Maybe if you guys see something, you can tell me. That one was really cool. On my practice strokes with the putter only, I noticed that I stood up a little bit taller, and I also noticed that my upper back was a little bit more in extension. I wasn't quite so bent over, and by doing that, I noticed that as soon as I took the putter back, that my right obliques engage. Instead of having it be a little bit bent over like this, take it back, and now they engage when the putter's back about a foot. I noticed that standing up a little taller, as soon as I took it back, the putter came a little bit further inside the line, and also my right obliques engaged. So that felt most similar to this simple, as soon as I take my hands back, I feel my right side engage. And I have to stand a little bit taller. So now, to me, they're basically feeling the same. After doing this for, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 minutes, they're all feeling the same. And I think if I got a little bit bigger, they probably wouldn't be the same with my stroke. I mean, I'm hitting like a 2-footer here. Yeah, so hang out with that. Give me your feedback. Ask me questions. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna make this a private group just because I want to sort of know who's interested and who's coming. And there's still gonna be a free portion of it, and then I'm also gonna have a portion of it that is for paying customers that will be able to get a little bit more one-on-one coaching. And it's not gonna be too expensive, but yeah, I think this is a great time. I've been resisting going online for so long because I enjoy the connection of people, but you know, when life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade. So I'm also having fun with this. I can see a couple people are tuning in from California. That's great, and it's nice to be able to connect with people off of Salt Spring Island, in Victoria, in the States, in California. So yeah, send me your comments, and I want to hear what's happening. And if you want, send me a video. Send it to me on Facebook Messenger or whatever, and I'd love to hear some feedback, what you guys want more of, what you want less of. I'm trying to do this every 2 days, so the next thing that I do is going to be on Tuesday. I'm trying to stick with 3 o'clock. You guys can let me know if it's not working for you. But I'm going to do more one-arm drill on Tuesday. And the one-arm drill will help your chipping, but it's definitely more of a full-swing drill. It's about solid contact. If you're making solid contact with the one-arm drill, you will make solid contact with the golf ball. So tune in Tuesday. If you didn't tune in last time, I'm going to try to do it at 3 o'clock. I'll let you know tomorrow the exact time, and I'll probably invite you all, especially the ones who attended, to join my group. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I think I'm going to go do some one-arm drill right now because it is super sunny out, and it's probably the warmest day of the year here in Canada. It's probably, I don't know, 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 12 degrees Celsius. Okay, see you guys, and happy putting.